The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
Well, that ended quickly, but we'll try that again.
The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
Hall of Fame, no opinions are the same. Lovely chocolate in the bin for the poll, who will win? Cream soda wrestling, pimple dick ranting, air fryer Brussels sprouts, Maxi often cheats. Hey yo, let's start the show. CWF are set to go. Many movies I won't know, such a fiasco. Max v Cy was pretty crap, probably won't go back to that. Max needs to wear a hat, and he sometimes cheats. Hogan is a liar, but Barry Windham is the
worst
thing. Hogan is a liar, hear all about it on Chain Wrestling.
Hey, yo.
I knew I could hold my nerve longer than you.
Hey, yo, indeed. We are finally back, Mr. Mags. Finally back.
Yes, we are.
After a long
Do not
sabbatical.
adjust your computer / television / phone sets.
No. Indeed. We are back once again with the Renegade Master, as the song goes. It's just how my head works. It's just how my head works. Morty and Dan Griffin apparently have had several conversations away from everyone else about how my mind works when they record with me, and they think I'm on the same bus as Fitch and Morty for like something or other.
Like a very short yellow bus.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Pretty much. That's what they reckon. But yeah,
I agree. I've not been a party to those conversations, but whatever they have agreed, it's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, probably, mate. Probably. But here we are on a Tuesday evening, live once again with a non-wrestling topic that we threw out what seems like a year ago.
March the 8th.
March the 8th, my word, and it's now what, the 6th of May.
Nearly
Goodness gracious
2 whole
me.
months.
Yeah. A wrestling topic part of the show. Magsy won the poll, and we have to review a whole fucking 2-hour VHS tape. You know? When was that? That was
February. The end of February.
9 weeks ago?
A long time.
And how many times have you watched that now, Magsy? We were talking about it beforehand.
So, for context, I mean, we did put out a video and a podcast around WrestleMania, just like covering where we'd been. And the long story short of it is, Sa kept coming up with more and more ridiculous reasons why he couldn't be asked rocking up. So I watched WrestleFest 1991 every week for the last 7 weeks. Every single week. To the point now where I might watch it now to go to sleep tonight once I've finished.
Yeah.
It's just ingrained in my brains now.
I mean, we're going to get into it when we get to our wrestling section at the end of the show. There are moments of it I think could quite easily send me to sleep. But it's going to be an interesting discussion. It was definitely a snippet in time, I think, wasn't it, of what the WWF were doing there. But yeah, we will have a look at that in a while. Again, like I said, non-wrestling topic, absolutely fantastic stuff. Everyone checking in their responses to that. And as we go through the show during On the Wrestling Topic, if you have more Ask Us Anywhere questions, chuck them in the chat. We'll come to the chat very, very soon, of course. Yeah, Maxie, I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's been a little while. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous as well, which is weird.
You were saying just before you come out, you were a little bit nervous. Needed to go for a little bit of a nervy poo.
I thought I had to, yeah.
But it's like riding a bike. You think you forgot, and then all of a sudden you're barreling down a hill, and you have to carry on riding. So there we go.
And with us and the way this show goes, we'll be barreling down a hill through a thorn bush straight into a fucking wall.
Barrel down a hill with this show. It's so many episodes, 138 live episodes, and
170 in total.
Clue what we're doing.
No, that's true. That is very true indeed. I will pre-warn you, my throat's still a bit sore, mind.
Oh, it come with this 2 weeks ago, folks. Oh, I'm really poorly. I can't be bothered. I mean, I'm ill.
Actually, Mr. Mags, you can check on my wife about this. I'll tell you how poorly I was. I rang the doctor myself. I've not done that for like 20 years.
And then last week's abysmal effort. Oh, my internet suddenly gone off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it did. What do you want me to do? I couldn't do fuck all.
Okay.
Yeah. Virgin me. I'll tell you what as well. Not last night, night before, things started buffering and acting up again. And I was like, oh no. But by the morning it was all right.
Panic stations.
And touch wood, it's been good as gold since. So
for the whole 24 hours.
Hopefully we're going to be okay. It's very frustrating because the internet is very good here. I would say 99% of the time it's very, very good, and it should be for the amount of money I fucking pay them. But yeah, it's the best I can get into the house. So yeah, it should be very good. It should have no problems.
Around about 8 o'clock at night, there just seems to be issues with the internet.
And coughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coughing more. You're coughing more.
I've got
what you got
on the go.
A locket. Oh, okay. Yeah. I've got a Guinness because that's quite smooth, isn't it?
Because they're two very different ways to treat cough.
Velvety, mate, soothing my throat. Anyway, here we are, 7 minutes in on a Tuesday evening. I know there's Champions League football on tonight, but don't fucking bother with that nonsense. It's a load of shite, money-grabbing bastards. Come here where the real entertainment is. Because for the first time in many, many weeks, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening or watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live, episode 170. I am Si. And with me, as always, is the Paul Roma to my Paul Romeo. We'll come to that shortly.
That's horrific. That was uncalled for.
Oh, whoa. The abdominal stretch to my grapevine. Yeah, I don't think I didn't notice your fuck up as well, Sean Mooney. A podcaster who, if asked, even at 11 years of age, I think, in 1991, would have done a better job on commentary than what we fucking got for WrestleFest 91. Lord Mags. It's been too long, my friend.
I'm not batting yet. We'll discuss the wrestling in the wrestling section, but you are very wrong. You're so wrong, it's unreal. Yeah, I am doing fan dabby dorsey like I've been doing for the 6 of the last 7 weeks, apart from that 1 week where I had my balls dropped and I sounded like a 13-year-old boy.
Bad, weren't you? Yeah, you were really bad and croaky, weren't you?
Yeah, for 1 week out of 6. 7.
Fuck off.
No, but I'm doing really good. We've had some glorious weather. We've been in the hot tub most weekends. Ducks are doing brilliant. Chickens are doing amazing. More eggs than I can ever eat. Yeah. Just
are you in the hot tub now?
A whale of a time. I am going to.
Ripped
well,
because of your stuff.
No, I won't go that far. Now less water gets out of the hot tub when I get in, which is always a bonus.
Okay.
I am going to do one of these podcasts one day from the hot tub.
Yeah, that would be a good crack, actually.
Yeah,
Probably wrong wording there. I should maybe choose my words a bit better.
Depends where I put the camera.
Yeah, very true, very true. But obviously, you're very experienced in that kind of live show, so there won't be any mistakes.
No.
Very quickly, then, we'll dive into the chat, Magsy, shall we? Say hello to those who have joined us, and for those who are watching live on Twitter, live via anywhere else, YouTube, whatever. Do us a favour, like, share, retweet, tell your friends, chuck it in your WhatsApp friends groups, whatever. Let's get as many people involved as we possibly can. Maxie, who's joined us?
So, firstly, at 3:10 this afternoon, Pig's Bladders, the absolute Photoshop wizard, and some of his artwork is becoming incredibly scarily good. Like, really good, but
so
terrifying. Good. Anyway, he says, ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, but the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Gloucestershire farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars. Strange happenings in Gloucester? Never has that happened in the history of the world. What is he talking about?
I don't know. Did we have we done a show since I told you about all the police raids?
No,
have we covered that?
Police raids?
Yeah, all the literally you got the main Gloucester City Centre, and then you've got Treadworth High Street just down the road from me. And if basically the police finally woke up after what seems like 15 fucking years and raided all the barbershops.
Were they Turkish barbershops by any chance?
Yeah. Well, not just Turkish. That's not, jump to conclusions, but yes, they were. I mean, everyone in Gloucester should be walking around with absolutely pristine styled fades and never have to wait, because every other shop is a bar. I think there's one setting up in my garden right now. It's ridiculous how many barbershops there are. Police raided them, right? Now, some of them ended up being okay. Some of them ended up just finding nothing, whatever. Might have just been good timing, I assume. But in Treadworth High Street alone, so just our local little high street, 11 arrests were made from 11 different barbershops.
So they're clearly a front for something.
Oh, yes. And if you take into account the ones in town as well, 25 were raided and found to have money and other stuff there. Wow. And the following day, a further 8 were done.
Jesus.
That's insane, isn't it?
We have got, up here in Burnley, we've got more Turkish barbers than we've had before, but when I've seen reports on the news, and like you just said, of so many barbers on like in such a small area, we don't have it that bad yet, but I can see it coming. But yeah, it's clear that there's not enough business to sustain that many Turkish barbers, so something suspicious is going on. Definitely.
I will, providing this one is still there, I will go down the high street at some point and take a picture, because there was one called Bash Cuts, and they moved from one side of the road to the other. I'm assuming they needed a bigger storage space for, let's say, scissors and hair gel. But they put a new sign up, and they put like the font was very blocky, but the letters were split and broken up, so it said Bash Cuts. But because of this, the U for the cuts was split, so it looked like LI. So it looked like it was.
I mean, it was less a name of a shop and more of a statement to the female of the species.
Indeed. But please, Magsy, carry on. I apologise.
Yeah, and on with that, First Lady of the SJP World Media Network, Sharon. Don't you take advice from Bash Cuts. It's Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure that normally means something. It used to mean something, and we will make Tuesdays great again.
Oh,
never you fear.
Yes.
Tariffs are going through the roof on Tuesdays with us in charge. King Pig Bladders. Yeah. Do you want to explain the strange happenings in the Gloucester farmlands, Pig Bladders? Yeah, because even SAR, the newspaper of Gloucester, has no idea what you're talking about. But evening, how are you, sir? Hey, Amy says hello to Sharon, and then we get a little bit of cordiality there. And then Pig Bladders says, The one thing I noticed about WrestleFest, the one thing about video you noticed was Greg Valentine had really bad bangs, like he cut his own fringe. Ironically, he was nowhere near the worst haircut on that whole video.
Nah,
it was
shockers,
so horrific, some of the haircuts. And then King Pig's Bladder says coughing is a sign of old age. Yep, it is.
Yeah,
we are old. We are very old.
My hay fever has gone. This is the first time this has happened this year. My hay fever now affects me in the mornings and the evenings with a cough rather than your normal sneezing and so on. Since I had that bad chest a couple of weeks ago, and I'd rather have the sneezing back, mate. This coughing's bullshit.
Because sneezes are funny, aren't they? Coughs are just annoying.
Coughs are bullshit.
Yeah, I'd hate to be the kind of person who coughs all the time. Just
it'd be a right pain in the ass, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. Next up, Dan. Hello, sir, and absolute massive props to Mr. Griffin here for representing chain wrestling and SJP all over WrestleMania weekend. So much love. Thank you very, very much. And he met one of his heroes in Tank Abbott. Still pussied out in telling him that he's done a full podcast regarding Tank's career, but that is absolutely amazing.
His whole career, they covered.
Yeah. And then he didn't dare tell him about it because Tank would have probably chinned him. But Dan says, in the words of the old bird from Titanic, who could have saved Leonardo DiCaprio but didn't, it's been 84 years. It bloody feels like it as well. Sharon says, the box didn't record maths. That's Married at First Sight. Is that right?
That's right. That's our favourite show.
Properly last Tuesday. I'm sure it'll be on repeat multiple times during the week anyway. Dan says, some good came from the internet outage. Yes, it did. Absolutely. I bet she was fuming. I bet you got it in the net because of that.
No, not at all. Not at all. She knew it'd be on the catch up or
there'd be for her. I know that because you snuck off and you played Championship Football Manager whilst everyone else suffered with no internet.
Yeah.
Whilst everyone else had to have conversations and talk to each other, you fucked off to go to season 1993-94 of Premier League.
Well, it goes to show everyone who's mocked me for my old Windows 98 PC. Fuck you. I'm not playing my game.
Pig's Bladders then says he's probably got links if you need it, Sharon. And there we go. It's okay. She caught it on catch up because it's fucking just repeated ad nauseum over and over and over again, isn't it? It's just on all the time. Pig Bladder says it's the opening from War of the Worlds. Oh, fair enough. In Gloucester, though.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realise it was set in Gloucester. What a place to start the War of the Worlds. Fucking Gloucester. I'd give it up.
Yeah.
You'd be just like, it's not worth fighting for this. Not worth fighting for at all.
Like a turf war over barbershops or something.
Connor, hello, sir. How are you?
He
says, howdy, gentlemen. Good to have you back on my screen. Well, wait till we get to your question, and you might not be happy with what we say because I don't think we're going to be fans of the Columbus Crew in the near future. Pig's Bladder says, just because of all the UFO picks earlier. Oh, yeah, fair enough. And again, some amazingly brilliant but horrifying.
I'm sporting tonight. This is a Pig's Bladder's design for us here. He is a wonderful this year's WrestleMania chain wrestling shirt to go along with, I think, 39 we had one as well, the Hollywood logo. And of course, we've got the classic retro chain wrestling WrestleMania logo as well. More merch added last night, so I'm sure you're diving on.
Yeah.
Again.
One of them's a bit dodgy, though, isn't it?
Which one?
The spunk shirt.
Okay, yeah.
The sock shirt, as it should be called, just to mop up the spunk.
I like that shirt. It's a
shock. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get into that later on, or not. Dan says he got such a big kick out of wearing the chain wrestling merch at Mania. Yeah, it was brilliant. Dan, seeing the pictures, it proper warmed the cockles of my dead heart. It was just absolutely superb. Dan says I could tell Tank wasn't in the mood for any shit. Not telling him about the pod was survival. But that may be your only chance in your laugh that you could have said, we've done a full series of a podcast about you, Tank Abbott, and then he could have listened to one and smacked you square in the snot box for it. But you may never get that chance again. But amazing that you met him. It was I think he came out at Bloodsport 13 as like one of the guests.
Okay.
And the crowd went absolutely mental when he came out. Just really good. Him and I think Dan Seven was there as well. So yeah, it was really good seeing him like over the festivities at WrestleMania. I'm having some mouse issues for some reason.
It's scuttling across your desk.
Well, it's because it's a powered mouse, and when the battery starts running out, it starts saying doing whatever it wants. Anyway, Dan says he also met Minoru Suzuki in Vegas and John Barnes last week. John Barnes, the famous wrestler John Barnes. That's absolutely amazing.
John Barnes.
Yeah. Pigs Banner says a trio of legends. Absolutely, is a trio of legends. All in like 2 weeks, you've seen Tank Abbott, Minoru Suzuki, and John Barnes. That's absolutely amazing. Pigs Banner says the new merch looks great. Yeah, brilliant job done by everybody involved. Not me. I have nothing to do with it. So any errors, he's your man. That's who you blame.
It's me.
Connor says, I'm just here to chat bullshit and be the only young gun in the CWF. Listen, we're all young at heart. We may be grey and wizened and grumpy, but when we watch wrestling, we're all like little kids.
Everyone's young, depending on who you compare them to.
Yeah, like I'm young compared to a dead person. And Sar's young compared to me. See, it's like a ladder.
There you go. Gradual steps.
Gradual. That's the only kind of steps we take at our age.
Oh yeah,
100%. Pigs Bladder says, "Did you get your shirt from my shop yet, Sar?" You did.
Yes, I did indeed. I was going to wear it tonight, but it's in the wash, I'm afraid, because I've already worn it when it arrived. But it is fantastic. I will wear it next week. And
Dan, final one for now. Dan says, young at heart equals still fucking idiots. I will be on my deathbed and still be being a fucking idiot. So nothing is ever going to change there. Anyway, that's the chat all caught up to.
There we go. Now, Maxie, before we dive into anything that we have planned, I don't know if you have a Hall of Name fame tonight. I don't, but I don't know if you do. No? Okay.
I mean, there's a general one. And I don't think we need to make a big song and dance about it, but it's the ugliness of the releases from WWE again.
Oh, yes.
The WrestleMania. I mean, some of the wrestlers that got cut, ridiculous. I mean, how do you cut Cora Jade? She's going to be the future of the business in the next 5 years. Shayna Baszler, what a drop ball that is. Dakota Kai, another drop ball. It makes you sad sometimes. You have WrestleMania, which is meant to be like the peak of the wrestling calendar, and then a couple of weeks after, people are given some horrific news and being told that the contracts are not being renewed or they're being released. And yeah, I just feel sad for him sometimes.
Bullshit, mate, isn't it? It's very sad indeed. Speaking of bullshit and things that might annoy you, there's a couple of things I want to bring up. First of all, very quickly, I'm assuming you've seen this report, special offer kind of thing from Nestle, who make Aero chocolate bars. Now,
is it the solid one? Is it the solid?
It is.
Yes,
it is
sensible.
And I wanted to get everyone's thoughts because initially Aero started this as a sort of tongue-in-cheek publicity thing, saying that they urgently wanted chocolate bars recalled that were solid. I got a report here from the Metro in front of me. It says, if you're a fan of Aero's bubbly chocolate, which I know, of course, Maxie, you are, you might notice something a little different about the sweet treat in the coming weeks. That's because the brand, which is owned by Nestle, has revealed it had a bubble breach at its York factory. Fucking people from York, man. What the fuck?
Scumbags.
One job with an Aero, put fucking bubbles in it. As an urgent message has been issued, warning customers, Mags. Because I suppose if you're expecting bubbly chocolate and you bite too hard, you might chip a tooth. I don't know. But they've issued a warning.
A tooth.
Um,
Chip a tooth.
Yeah, a tooth. Warning customers that bubble-less arrows are cropping up across the UK and Ireland. It's a cheeky marketing stunt, say the Metro. Brilliant reporting. Thanks for that. We couldn't have figured that out.
No.
But if you're someone who buys Aero chocolate bars regularly, you might want to take note, as if you return one of these, you might nab yourself 10 grand. Now, Maxie, what are
I
your
think this is a
thoughts on
ploy.
this?
The money for me is irrelevant because I'm not going to buy Aeros. This is a ploy by Nestle to try and get me to buy Aero chocolate. Knowing how much I hate bubbly chocolate, they're trying to convince me that they can do solid chocolate, but I'm not going to fall for it because if I bite into an Aero, I will vomit. So no, Nestle, your plan will not work. I'm not going to be eating a Whisper Gold, even the Whisper Mint if they brought that back, and I'm certainly not going to be eating any fucking Aeros. So no, it's not going to work.
Okay. Sharon came up with a really good point. And it's a point that you make on a regular basis about the weight of these chocolate bars because they got bubbles in them. If they're solid, will they not weigh more? So you'll be able to pick them up in the wrappers, have a feel, and go, that one might be worth 10 grand. Yeah, is that not a way, you know?
Yeah, but people who eat Aeros are not exactly the sharpest tools in the shed, are they? They're not going to differentiate between weight. They just go, oh, me like Aero. Oh, me want bubbly chocolate. Me like paying for air. So they'll actually be disappointed when they bite into it and they, oh, there's not enough air in this chocolate. Pricks.
Okay. So it's turned into just attacking everyone who eats Aero chocolate now. I was trying to get your opinion, but you're gonna.
My opinion is
like
it's a cynical ploy to get me solely into eating Aeros. Well, it won't work.
Solely, yeah?
Yeah. It won't work. Fuck off. Keep your 10 grand. I'm not buying your Aero chocolate.
I'm glad we cleared that up. And secondly, before we move on to anything else, quite a few people I imagine online may have seen this, but I wanted to read this out to get your opinion, and people in the chat, I want your opinion on this as well. This is relationship advice on Reddit and various other websites as well. People put up like, am I the asshole in this scenario, or can I get some relationship advice, and so on. And this is quite a famous one that went around the internet in the last few weeks, sort of post WrestleMania and so on. I want to get people's thoughts and opinions of this. Is the lady in this situation being spiteful, or is the husband a bit much? And I want everyone to chime in the chat and you to give us your thoughts, Maxie, because it's quite interesting to me. The lady is 26 and her husband is 33, and she starts off by saying here, my husband is obsessed with pro wrestling and it's ruining our marriage. Do I leave?
Yeah, out you go. Piss off then.
Okay. Well, cleared that one up as well.
I'm assuming there's context to this, but she's already got me off on the wrong foot by making him choose. Well,
he is quite excessive. So is there a line in your fandom? Let's find out by what she explains here. She begins saying, my husband was into pro wrestling as a kid, fell out of it, but over the last few years has eased back into it. Okay. I've never, she writes in capital letters, been a pro wrestling fan. I thought it was something that people watched as a kid and grew out of. But he has become obsessed, and it's escalating to a point where I no longer feel comfortable. Now that's took a turn already, hasn't it? Apologies, she says, as I may not get all of the wrestling terms right. I'm exposed to wrestling a lot, but I try and avoid it. It started harmlessly enough. He'd watch the pay-per-view events like WrestleMania. Then he started watching recaps of the weekly shows. Now he's glued to the couch every night there's a live pro wrestling event. He watches multiple wrestling shows, not just WWE. The card, how very dare he. He started spending money, and I mean a lot of money, on merchandise, t-shirts, hats, action figures, fake belts, etc. I was okay with this, as it was nice to see his passion reignited for something. He's been in a rough spot with work lately, but now pro wrestling is the only thing he cares about. He yells at the TV like he's part of the crowd, cheering or booing. When he stop making me laugh, I'm trying to read. When he's watching and when he's not watching, he constantly shouts out catchphrases randomly. He says things like yeet, acknowledge me, and you can't see me, etc. in our day-to-day lives. He actually gets irritated if I don't play along with him, like if I don't raise my hand when he says acknowledge me. This past weekend was the worst of it. Those of you who know it was WrestleMania. He asked me to refer to him as the final boss all weekend. I laughed it off and thought he was joking, but he wasn't. We actually got into an argument about it Saturday evening because he said I wasn't supporting him in the way he needs, and that whenever we're watching wrestling, I look bored and disinterested. I look that way because I am. He's got to be watching 15 hours of wrestling a week easy. When Jey Uso won at WrestleMania, he literally jumped on top of our couch waving his arms. It was embarrassing and I left the room. I don't want to say too much regarding our intimacy, but he's asked for a lot of role-playing lately, as well as it has me, and it has me very concerned. The things he's asked me to do make me super uncomfortable. It's all wrestling related. Things have taken a toll on me mentally. It's non-stop. He sends me memes of Roman Reigns and a bunch of other wrestlers. He talks like them, acts like them, and demands I participate in his little performances. Sunday night, the wrestler he wanted to win didn't win, and it's still affecting him today. His mood's sour and he seems depressed. I hate to admit it, but it's been kind of nice. He hasn't been as loud or as noisy as usual. So, Reddit, I need help. I just don't think I can deal with it anymore. He sings the wrestler's songs. He does their sayings. He's got all their t-shirts. He's even got tickets for us to go to the next show coming through in about 3 weeks. But I just don't think I can take it. CWF in the chat. Mr. Mags, thoughts?
Signed, Sharon P. Gloucester. At first, I was on the guy's side because it was a very similar story. I was a fan of wrestling, fell out of it, got back into it. But then he took it too far, didn't he?
There's a line, isn't there?
I mean, I have been known to yeet, but I wouldn't jump on the sofa and start yeeting when Jay won. I certainly wouldn't get the missus to have to do it as well. Yeah, he's never ever going to kiss another girl again in the whole of his life, is he? He has regressed into being a virgin now. He needs to move back in to his mum's house, go down into the basement, never shower ever again, and just become the typical wrestling fan. She needs to leave him. She needs to leave him today.
There's a lot of humour in there, but the one bit obviously that is quite serious is when she talks about her intimacy, as she worded it, and says she's not comfortable.
I needed more details.
You know,
in that I don't think
take that aside. I laughed a lot at this. This made me chuckle.
What if? I mean, wrestling fans are idiotic at the best of times, but fucking hell, you absolute wrestling mark! What a clown! What a clown you are!
Indeed. Shall we scan through the chat and get the CWF's thoughts before we move on to what we're going to do next, Mags?
We shall. Let's go back to this. So Pig Bladder's saying about the cuts. There must be more to it than cost cutting. Yeah, there always is. I think a lot of the younger talents, it's a case of go and get more experience somewhere else and then maybe can bring you in. And Dan's made like a similar point here about Cora Jade. She'll bounce back. There's too much TV ready talent in NXT and WWE at the moment, sadly. But she'll kill it in the likes of TNA and then be brought back as Indie Doll. Yeah, exactly. But guys like Braun Strowman, still a draw. Never going to be a world champion, I suppose. But was it a thing to cut him over? It feels a bit grubby sometimes for me.
They've signed Del Rio again, so they've let Braun Strowman go. And
Right, no,
re-signed Del Rio.
so
is that right?
there was some clarification about it. So Dave Meltzer has been getting stuff horrifically wrong recently, like
No.
ridiculous. No, I mean he's always kind of guessed a lot of the news, but now he's so bad that he's missing the mark way more than he gets it right. But he reported about WWE signing him, and he's only going to be kept on till we get NXT Mexico. With the purchase of AAA, the contracts their AAA's contracts are nothing like WWE's contracts whatsoever.
Okay.
So the contracts don't naturally transition over. So when they bought AAA, they didn't get the contracts of the talent, but those talent are still contracted to AAA. So
Nice.
it was just rewording of everybody's contracts to bring them more in line with how WWE's contracts are set out. That's all it is. Everybody got essentially the same. It doesn't mean that Alberto Del Rio is coming back to WWE. It's very likely he's going to be on any AAA shows because they've based the whole show around him for the past year or so. But once he sees out his contract, I dare say he's not long for the company. And I very much doubt he would get any major TV time. But yeah, that was just Dave and the ilk trying to make a massive story of something that really wasn't.
I'm glad.
Back to the chat. So Dan says he heard that a bearded white bloke with short dreads and a Burnley twang was seen in the factory shortly before the blow up. Listen, I don't have short dreads anymore. I have normal hair now. It's actually a bit of a mullet. Well, hair. I have hair now instead of dreadlocks. So it weren't me. Clearly not. No short dreads here, sir. But whoever it was, he's doing the Lord's work quite clearly. Pig's Bladders then says, was he mumbling fucking bubbles as he shuffled around? Fucking shuffled around, Pig's Bladders. Was he? I don't know. Was he shuffling around? But again, Lord's work. Pig's Bladders says, no, the bloke has taken it to a little too far. A little. He's just overstepped the line just a little bit. No, he was a cunt. The guy is a cunt. I'm all for being a fan. I am a massive fan of wrestling. But there's a line in there. It's not real life. It's not still real to you, damn it, you pillock. Don't ruin your chances of kissing girls over acknowledging Roman Reigns. That's just ridiculous. Matt Cameron's got no blurry, hasn't it?
Also, she says that he's 34, 33, 34, whatever it was. She's 25, wasn't it? 26?
27. We're in that 27. Yeah, he's punching already. Don't ruin that for yourself, lad. Pig's Ladder says there's only so much going along with it that you can do. Can you imagine her sat on the sofa just looking at him in fucking disdain? I've sucked his dick and look at him now.
Or even worse, him sat on the edge of the bed, eagerly waiting, as she enters the bedroom in a full Bushwhackers gimmick doing that.
And just as he's about to shoot his baby back, he goes, do, 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 do. Mo, hello, sir. How are you? He says, I've just joined. Why is Sarah reading a letter from Mrs. Maggs? Listen, my wife has had decades to understand that she won't win that argument. Wrestling will always be there, so she doesn't even try.
No, I'm coughing as well, Maxie. There must be something in the air.
But it's you. You come back, bring in your illness, and you just drag me down with you. Dan says, yeah, I think it is that. Dan says the man is a fucking lunatic. And then Pig's Bladders kind of changes his tune here because he says, only 15 hours of wrestling watching a week. What an amateur. I bet he calls them mammy. And I bet you should text it thinking it's like a compliment, not realizing what it is. And that he's thinking of Rhea Ripley when he calls it. You fucking,
I think that whole mammy thing, I know it was mentioned and they ran with it and there's merch and all that, but I find that all a bit ick, you know.
It's merch. It's just like saying yeet or yeah. It's just a catchphrase.
The same. It's not quite the same.
Well, or Dirty Dom.
Yeah, I suppose. But he is a dirty little gross dude, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's the new RC champion, and he's going to be a bloody good one. I loved it. Loved it when he won. Dan says, begging for a pegging from her dressed as Rhea.
Oh, my word.
That's just my brutality. Oh, my God. Sharon, I've been exposed. And not for the first time, because Dan says he just realised he can see Sar's pussy.
He means obviously the cat that is over that shoulder. That shoulder.
Why did you point to Bob then?
Well, because I got it the wrong way around. Because the camera flips us, doesn't it? So.
Pig's Bladder says no. Del Rio's for AAA. Yeah, exactly. It won't be on US TV. Morty says, hi Sharon, don't worry, you're not exposed as Fitch in the local petrol station.
I feel there's a story behind that.
I don't want to know it. It's
worried.
Probably to do with him being barred from every SO garage in the vicinity.
Throwing his knob out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Sharon says, I'd give up kissing girls for Roman Reigns. Yeah, but that's different. Because you would go on to be kissing Roman Reigns. If Sar said, I'm going to give up kissing girls for Shawn Michaels, you would look at him a little bit funny, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I think Shawn you get a pass with, don't you?
Okay, then Triple H.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. Nose too big.
Hardenrack.
Oh, dear me. Dear me.
Pig Banner said, Dirty Dom is brilliant. Yeah. I can't wait for him to be world champion. He's going to be so damn good. And then Dan says, Fitch at a petrol station, would it even be malicious exposure? Silly cunt would just shut his shorts in the car door and accidentally rip them off and be bare-assed. He would be absolutely bare-assed. That's amazing. And then Sharon, last one, he has said that before. That he'd have a tickle on Shawn Michaels. Would you be gay for the stay for Shawn Michaels?
90s Shawn might turn my head. Modern day Shawn? Oh, God, no. Have you seen the state of that fucker?
I know, but he'd pray for you whilst rogering you, wouldn't he? No.
He would. He would indeed. He'd know that this was wrong, but oh, so right. Oh, dear me. Oh, my throat. Right then. Maxie, is there anything else you wanted to cover? Anything else you want to touch upon?
No, definitely not Shawn Michaels. I definitely don't want to touch upon Shawn Michaels.
Leave that well alone now. Shall we dive into our non-wrestling topic then?
We shall when I find the non-wrestling topic video thing, because they've all moved. This one.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Non-wrestling topic time.
Good God Almighty, there will be no wrestling talk here. Business is about to pick up on chain wrestling. Side Lord Max, please cut it out.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Brilliant.
Oh, we're back. Sorry.
Oh, we are back.
We are back indeed. I was just bringing up the answers to the non-wrestling topic on my phone so I can read them out, Magsy. But of course, you have them on the screen as usual.
Well, some of them, because I've had to spread them over two pages.
Yes, and over a couple of months as well,
Yes,
of course. Yeah, so I'll say this week's very loosely, but this week, as we do the answers, non-wrestling topic is an old favourite. It's Ask Us Anything. And as I mentioned, as we go through the non-wrestling topic, if you have any more questions, by all means, chuck them in the chat for us. But once we step into the wrestling, the door is slammed shut. There will be no more non-wrestling topic once that begins. Magsy, I'll read them out in the order they come into us, which is a blatant lie, because I've gone back and screenshotted them today, so I don't know what order I've got them in. But if I don't say that, I feel
this
weird.
is going to be this is going to be hectic.
It is. I feel it is. We begin with our good friend Connor at Connor Knows Footy.
Yep, on the other page.
Says,
brilliant.
I apologise, my friend.
You don't mean that.
No, I don't. No, I'm okay with you trying to sort it out. It's fine. He says, would you be willing to become Columbus Crew supporters? I already know the answer is no, but it's worth a try. Why do you keep trying to get us to support your club? I don't understand.
Yeah, we don't.
Is it that lonely?
We don't want to support Columbus. It's weird. It's weird. Columbus, they're not our home team. They never will be. And also, they're quite shit. I mean, Sad does support Man United, so he is a glory hunter. So there was that chance if Columbus were quite good, but apparently they're not. So
a glory hunter, mate. We're fucking 15th or whatever, aren't we?
Do you remember when Man United were a big club?
I do. We're still a big club. We're just a shit one. Yeah. Speaking of local clubs and that, though, did you hear about Gloucester City nearly going up? They were very, very close.
I heard about the penalties.
Yeah, they qualified for the playoffs. The playoff semi-final, they were 2-0 down inside 10 minutes, pulled it back to 2 each, and went through on penalties. Went through to the final yesterday, but sadly Tottenham were too good and we lost 1-0. So, but I think it's a blessing in disguise.
I've always said, never leave it in the hands of the playoff. If you're going to get promoted, get up automatically.
Yeah,
get up automatically with the best defence in the country, 100-point seasons. That's the best way to get promoted, I think.
Didn't win the league though, Burnley, did they?
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand why you keep asking. Are there not enough fans? Do they need our money or something? Do we have to have a whip round for Columbus?
Do you know, one time we will watch a Columbus Crew game and we'll review it.
Will we?
No, we won't ever do that.
If that happens, I will be with my proper football head on, and I will rip the MLS to shreds. You know, and also on that note, something else that will probably really wind Connor up, and just for sheer amusement, if I'm going to support anyone in the MLS, it's who Messi plays for, because that's the only reason people watch it.
Is that Inter Miami?
Anyway, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah. Connor also says here, time for my more serious question, and we say serious very loosely. If you're 6 inches in mags,
we've done this. This is rude.
Behind you is Dan Griffin, and he's 6 inches inside you. Do you move forward or backwards? And reverse for Mags, but with my name instead, he says.
So are you in front and Dan's behind?
Yes.
I'd be backing up. Because I feel Dan would be a more gentle bummer.
A gentle bummer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a new t-shirt for the Doctor Who pod coming. Dan Griffin, gentle bummer. I've had big cuddles off Dan Griffin whenever I've met him, and I know for a fact he's a very warm, affectionate gentleman. So I'm probably going to go in that direction as well, Max. Yeah, I'm sorry, my friend.
And you are the bummer, not the bummy, aren't you?
I feel it would ruin our relationship. I feel what works so well for us is the will they, won't they sexual tension. So if we destroy that,
us or you and Dan?
No, you and me.
Will we won't? The answer.
It's like when Bruce Willis.
It's worn.
It's like when Bruce Willis was in that show Moonlighting.
It's not like that at all.
Based upon will they, won't they, on Moonlighting, and then when it happened, the show was never the same. Is it not? No. I think that's why people tune in. Mate.
This is not Billy and Chuck. I'm telling you now, there's not going to be And then we're not going to get beat up by a 3-minute warning. Sorry to burst your bubble, or not, as the case may be.
Or no bubble with Aero, yeah, of course. Chris Bellis at Real Chris Bellis on Twitter. Good to hear from you, Chris. Please answer the eternal conundrum that has divided families, nations, and lovers. It has caused more pain than any medical condition and was the actual cause of World War II. Mayonnaise or salad cream?
I mean, there's one easy answer. You want to do it on 3?
No, because I'm going to say something different to you. I know I am. Go on.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Salad cream.
Salad cream. Yes. There you
I mean, salad cream is like mayonnaise evolved. It's just better. Whatever you can use mayonnaise on, you put salad cream on, and it's such a better thing.
100%.
Tuna mayo. Mix that with mayonnaise with salad cream instead. 10 times better. Egg mayo. Mix that with salad cream instead. 10 times better. An actual salad. Put salad cream on. 10 times better. Yeah, there's nothing that mayonnaise can do that salad cream can't do better.
Even something as simple as just having some on chips. 10 times better than mayonnaise.
I mean, I don't eat chips anymore. If you listen to the podcast, it's not a thing that us Monjaros do. But if I was having chips, salad cream over mayo all day. Mayo's tasteless. Mayo is just a vessel for other flavors. Salad cream brings the tanginess. It brings the sweetness.
It's got a bit of vinegary to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, salad cream for the win, man.
Salad cream, yeah, salad cream.
People in the chat, 1-word answers each. Mayo, salad cream, go. Next up, we have Pig Splatters, and he's got a few for us, Magsy, so I'll read one out, we'll answer it and go through it that way, I think, yeah? Number 1 from Pig Splatters. If you could only communicate with animals, which one would you date?
That took a very quick left turn. If I could only... Why would you... I mean, just because you talk to someone or something doesn't mean you have to date them. Jesus.
I mean, it says which one, so that's not even talking about a sort of a breed or a type of animal. That's a very specific question. Which one animal would you date? And I'm going to go with the rabbit from the caramel adverts.
Oh, that's sassy.
Oh, yes, it is.
Then, if we're going that specific, then surely it'd be like Daisy Duck.
Daisy Duck?
But then that makes me sound like I have ducks for sexual gratification, and I don't. I have them for duck eggs. No. Oh.
It's a tricky one.
I think a panda bear.
Sorry?
A panda bear.
A panda bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I suppose
they cuddle. They're nice and cuddly. They only eat bamboo shoots or cheap date.
Bamboo.
And they're not that into doing the no pants dance, are they? So
no, they're not, mate.
You get away with not having to shag them. I mean, a lot of other animals are horny.
Yeah, that rabbit from the caramel adverts, she was on something, wasn't she? She was just constantly after it.
Yeah, especially when she broke the caramel and it all oozed.
Oh, my word. My goodness. Pig Splatters also says, would you rather have spaghetti for hair or marshmallows for teeth? Oh, my goodness, that's tricky.
I don't think it is. Marshmallows for teeth would be horrific. How could you bite into anything? I mean, spaghetti for hair would be annoying, but it's your hair. It's on the top of your head, or it's like coming down from your beard or whatever. But
yeah,
having your teeth, you use them to crush up your food, so you wouldn't be able to do that if you had marshmallows for teeth. So, unfortunately, I'd hate it, but I'd go with spaghetti for hair. And you could also tie that into a bubble, couldn't you? So it'd keep it at least,
I suppose,
out your face.
Imagine the smell though when it's been like a sunny day and stuff.
I'm assuming it's self-cleaning spaghetti.
Or is it spaghetti that hasn't been cooked yet, so it's just fucking rigid like Hellraiser?
or it's hoops and it comes in tins.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? All trickling down your face. I don't like people messing with my hair, mate. You know? It's one of the few things that gives me a
Are you
personality.
going to take never being able to bite anything solid again because of your gammy marshmallow teeth?
That's true. Very difficult, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, okay, I'm going spaghetti for hair as well then. You talk a lot of sense, Magsy, in that nonsense question.
Yeah, I try to make sense of it.
Yes, indeed. Number 3 from Pig Spiders. If you had to replace your hands and feet with kitchen utensils, which ones would you pick? Have you got to have the same? Pig Spiders, very quickly in the chat. Have we got to have the same?
Well, before he answers, I'm jumping in. So spatulas for feet, tongs for hands.
Oh, good shape, tongs for hands. That is a good idea. Because you can get some, they've got a sharp edge as well, so you almost got a knife in
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
there.
But definitely
Okay.
spatulas for feet because of the balance, the wide spread.
Yeah, but you got the skinny bit of the handle first, so isn't that going to be like whoop?
No, because it's like when you see movies where they're walking in snow and they wear essentially like tennis rackets. It helps with the balance, doesn't it?
Yeah, but when they do that, the handles go backwards, don't they? You're not going to have stuff cut. That's the wrong way.
What do you mean? You're still going to have
Well,
a spatula flat. It's just going to make you step on your spatula tiptoes, I suppose.
I guess. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Or big wooden spoon that'd do as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then that would be fully flat,
Mm.
and then you'd have a spoon, so you'd gather
the dirt and the gammy from when you're walking about. Yeah, that's not good. Imagine having a shower, getting out of the shower, lying in bed, then all your water falls out your spoonful. That'd be really.
Or imagine you'd been pleasuring yourself, and it landed in your spoon.
Do you often jizz on your own spoon ankles?
No, but when you have a spatula, it's got them like the slats where the oil goes through, so it slide out. You'd have minimal stainage. You'd have minimal stainage.
Yeah. Dear me, I've missed this. Number 4.
We're not coming back next week, folks.
No, we're broken now. As a pilot flying through a rainbow while trying to dodge leprechauns, you suddenly realise your co-pilot is a talking penguin. Okay, I'm changing my answer to earlier. That's the one I'm shagging, the talking penguin. Penguins are great.
But they're not shaggable, though, are they?
And pandas are.
Well,
pandas are vicious, mind.
But pandas at least have like arms and legs that are proportionate to the body. What's a penguin? A penguin is literally just like a black and white blob with little feet stuck on the bottom and wings.
Mate, don't fucking diss penguins. Penguins are great.
No, they are cool animals, but
and you get stability as well. You get stability because they mate for life. You've got to worry about your panda having its head turned by somebody else.
Do I? Pandas shag once in a fucking blue moon. Their heads don't get turned for anything.
Fair enough. Yeah, but then it might be so long, you might be thinking, have they had their once away with somebody else by this point? And you'll get all paranoid, won't you?
No, because I wouldn't. No? I weren't going into this argument with the express thought of which animal could I shag. It was I picked a panda so I wouldn't have to shag it. I could date the panda, but not have to do the no pants dance with it. So that panda, if that wants to be a slag panda and go and get its panda jollies elsewhere, that's up to that panda.
Oh, slag panda. That's brilliant. Yeah, I think I just got overexcited with the idea of talking.
You just thought I get to shag a penguin here. My lifelong dream.
Lifelong dream, yeah. I'm going to start that again. As a pilot flying through a rainbow while trying to dodge leprechauns, you suddenly realise your co-pilot is a talking penguin. In the midst of this chaos, what's your go-to snack for the flight? And do you think the penguin prefers pickles or ice cream? Oh, my go-to snack. I always enjoy pretzels, Magsy, to be fair. I always enjoy a pretzel.
Like mini pretzels?
I like big pretzels too, but if we're talking snack and you're flying a plane, you want the bag, don't you? I suppose be a bit more handy.
With the little pretzels with the little salt crystals on.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Or do you like the ones coated in flavoury powder?
I like those too. But if you're flying, that's going to make a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would have ordinarily picked something maybe like pistachios. But if you're the pilot, you don't want anything that could potentially make you poorly. So I think I'd just go with some jam on toast.
Jam on toast. See, that could be. You get sticky fingers all over the bloody stuff.
Yeah, but my co-pilot is a fucking talking penguin. I can always tell them how to control the plane.
I suppose. Okay, and would the penguin prefer pickles or ice cream? I'm going to say pickles because it lives somewhere fucking cold. It's got to be sick of that shit, hasn't it?
And I think that the penguin is very likely lactose intolerant, so eating ice cream is probably not good for him.
Are penguins lactose intolerant? Is that a fact, or are you just assuming?
Is it worth the risk?
Oh, well, when you word it like that, mate, definitely not. I'm in love with that penguin. Don't hurt it. Dan Griffin, at Dan Griffin 21,
what
he says...
What the fuck is our laugh?
This blows my mind. If I told you that I always told the truth, then told you that the previous statement was a lie, would I be truthful or a liar?
You would be both at the same time because that is a paradox. It is unsolvable. If someone says that they always told the truth and then said that the previous statement was a lie, if that was a lie, then they told you a lie, which means they don't always tell the truth. But if they were lying, then they're proving that they don't always tell the truth. So it's a paradox, sir. You won't fucking won't me, Daniel Griffin. Is your real name?
Away. I back out what Morty and Dan talked about the other week, actually, because my mind drifted off to something else then. Halfway through that, I was lost.
Joke.
Ben, at Largely Speaking, on Twitter,
this is on a different page.
He says, if when we were to meet in real life, would you hug me or would you throw me away like yesterday's jam? Of course we would hug you. Of course.
I'm not a hugger. I'm a fingerer.
Yeah.
So you would be fingered like yesterday's jam.
I'm not quite sure where to go with that.
Wherever you like to go.
He says here about yesterday's jam. I'm assuming this is a IT crowd.
Of course, I'd hug him. I'd hug him and I'd give him a big sloppy wet kiss.
There we go. With your forefinger right
then
up his
we'd
arsehole.
yeet together and both our missuses would leave us.
There we go. And then you, Ben, and the non-shagging panda could live on happily together.
Whilst we eye up your sexy penguin.
Sexy penguin. And finally, I have here, so if I've missed any, tell me. I apologise. From Ben as well. Simon Powell, how do you keep your beard looking so natty? Now, I thought natty meant gross and manky, but he actually sent me a dictionary. But it means the opposite of that, which is nice. Thank you so much for saying my beard looks nice. And I can tell you exactly how I do that. And I'm not sponsored by these fuckers, but I brought it up here to show. It's Striking Viking. And it makes my beard fucking lovely, mate. Nice and soft. They do lots of beard balms and beard oils. And then a good proper beard brush like that.
Yes.
Is what I do.
Essential.
That's how I keep my beard looking as, well, I was going to say lovely, as well as it can do, considering it's attached to my ugly mug. So that's what I do. So get yourself some Striking Viking stuff. It's well worth it.
Before you move on,
yep.
I ended up watching some of WrestleMania 18 over the weekend.
Random, okay.
Don't you bloody look like Josie Scott?
Who's that?
The singer from Saliva.
Saliva?
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, I've totally forgot that Saliva was at that time WWE's favourite band.
Always they did, didn't they?
Yeah. And they through the show, I think they do about 3 or 4 like different tracks. They do. Is it Batista's entrance music?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw Josie Scott in his WrestleMania vest. I thought, bloody hell, he looks like my mate Sar.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch WrestleMania. That's tonight's viewing sorted. Then
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
turn off the penguin porn and I'm gonna watch WrestleMania 18.
Whoa! You know how to dual screen now. You can have them both on at the same time.
Very true. Very true. Lastly, from Ben, he asks, Lord Mags, how many caps do you own? Now, I am intrigued.
That's a loaded question, because are we talking just baseball caps, or are we talking headwear in general?
I don't think he's trying to trip you up here. I don't think there's any malicious intent in this question.
I didn't say were. But I'm just saying I don't just wear caps, you see, as you can attest to from this past couple of weeks.
That's a cap as well, though, isn't it?
Right. So I've got this Kubota. I've got two of them. I've got the hat that I got from Cracker Barrel. I've got a Batman hat. I've got a Superman hat. I've got the grey one, the Nike one, the North Face one, the one that my missus got that says Mags on it that I've worn for one show and I will never ever wear again because it's very embarrassing. I've got a couple of Von Dutch hats. And then if we go with beanies, I've got about 5 or 6 different beanies. I've got hats with earphones built in. I've also got my farmer's cap. So I'd say 20, maybe.
I was going to say that's cleared 20 by my count.
Probably a little bit more. By next week, I'll do a count.
You'll do a head count, yeah?
Boom. Boom.
You like that? Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. I'll try and do a head count because they're also scattered in different rooms as well.
So do you have different hats for different purposes in different rooms? So if you walk from the hallway into the front room, you've got to take off your hallway hat and put your front room hat on.
No, not really. I'll wear different hats on different days, and I might wear multiple hats, not at the same time, but at different points in the day. But it's mainly because kids like to take hats and then leave them where they finish with them. So I'll randomly happen upon a cap that I've not been able to find in ages. So,
do we sell caps in our merch store?
How? I mean, I've never logged onto that merch store. Oh, I mean, back in the day I have, but we should sell a cap.
Shall I have a look?
I'd wear a
chain
wrestling cap.
So I'll have a quick look now, Magsy. I'll have a quick look. So Phil, be professional and do stuff.
So I'm going to go through some of the stuff that the chat have said.
Okay.
Dan Griffin, about Fitch, says bare ass and balls dragging on the pavement. I hope he gets his balls trapped down the grate for excess fuel and just rips them off. Connor says, I've convinced myself when you guys were away that there was no sense in beating a drum that's broken. You can try, Connor, and we love you for your unwavering effort to get more people to like Columbus Crew. It's just you're picking the two wrong blokes. Yeah. Pig's Bladder says he would go with Jessica Rabbit, who's not actually a rabbit. She's a human being. So
she's the other way
that's
around,
a fail. So what you mean there, Pig's Bladder, is you fancy Roger. You want to Roger the rabbit.
Roger.
That's what you say. Yeah.
She's the other way around, isn't she? She's a freak who goes for the animals.
Yeah. She's the bestiality.
There we go.
Person. Connor says, I think I'd have a better chance dating one of the talking animals from Alice in Wonderland than a man. Which one of those talking animals would you go for from Alice in Wonderland? Surely it'd be the flamingo croquet bats, would it? Or the Cheshire Cat.
Alice in Wonderland. Oh, the Cheshire Cat. Yeah, I remember the Cheshire Cat.
Or the Mad Hatter. Me.
That's not an animal, is it?
Well, no, he's a human. Well, yes. He's a cartoon. Pig's Bladder says anything goes. Chocolate covered pretzels. No,
I don't mind those, but only a couple. Because after I've had a couple of them, I want the ordinary ones.
If I'm in a pretzel mood, I like actually crushed pretzels or pretzel pieces rather than like the little tiny pretzels. They are glorious. Like garlic bread flavor ones or jalapeno flavor ones.
That's what I've got, like a whole they come in like boxes of 24. I've got a box of 24 downstairs. Oh, I didn't tell you about my purchase, did I? Yeah, I didn't tell you about my purchase, did I? We'll come to that in a moment. You're going to be proud of me and also mock me at the same time.
Probably both.
Yes. Shall I go now? Or?
No time like the present.
Okay. So it popped up on my, I think it's my Facebook or my Twitter or something, like an advert for, they must have heard me talking about what I was doing in the house or whatever, for like drain cleaner for like a penny. And I was like, signed, I want some of that. So I clicked on it and it ended up being one of these discount warehouse jobbies.
Okay, you know? Like Discount Dragon.
It probably was. I think it was actually Discount Dragon, trying to be able to say. So you had to spend X amount of money to get the delivery, didn't you? So I'm just chucking bits and bobs in the trolley, like, you know, and I'm thinking, well, that's really cheap. That's really cheap. Charlie likes certain energy drinks, and they had like packs of 12 for like £2, so I chuck that in and all this sort of stuff.
I get mine off TikTok shop now. My energy drinks.
Oh, okay. Sharon knows a great deal about that sort of stuff. But those very specific red jalapenos came up that I have in my toaster sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah, 200 grams in a little glass jar we normally get, and that normally costs anywhere between £2 and £2.50.
That you would not be having them again.
Oh, mate, I love them. This was a bumper size for £2, and I was like, gotta be done. Fantastic.
I'll have 20.
Right, well, no, luckily I only bought one. It arrived whilst I was at work. Sharon said, that stuff's here, can I open it and see what you ordered? And I was like, yeah, crack on. Because, I mean, I couldn't fully remember either, because I had a few beers in me when I did it. And it turns out what I've ordered, jalapeno-wise, and if Sharon, if you're listening, I'd appreciate it if you could run it upstairs to me shortly so I can show the people watching. I'm afraid those on the audio, you might have to settle for a picture from our Twitter feed. 200 grams in a little glass jar, yeah. This canister that I've got is 3 fucking kilos. So it's the size of my head. Sharon sent me a picture next to a tin of soup for perspective. It's ridiculous. It won't go in my cupboards because the cupboard's got other stuff in. It won't fit in there. It's just sat on the worktop mocking me every time I go into the kitchen. Like, what you buy me for, fat man? You're a fucking idiot. And when I went back and looked again,
surely you look at it and you're proud of yourself that you can now you can get a ladle and just scoop it in. And
yeah. Imagine the poorly belly I'd end up with. But it's problem is it's a tin, isn't it? So when you open it, it's open.
So, can you not transfer it into a sealable container?
Yes, but even then, though, it's been opened. So you only have a day or a couple of days before you have to consume it, don't you? Even if you reseal it, it's only a couple of days. So thank you, my love.
Surely they're in like some sort of...
God, that's heavy. And you look at the size of that.
Right, surely it's in some sort of... What liquid is it in? Is it just in water?
Yeah, it's in like a vinegary brine stuff, isn't it?
There you go. It's not going to go off. It's in brine.
Yeah, it'll go off eventually, won't it? It's not like
that won't last long enough for it to go off. Get yourself some Tupperware, open it, pour it straight into the Tupperware, lid on. You'll be laughing.
We were talking about freezing it, trying to freeze some, but I thought,
you might struggle with it being brine.
The size of that.
That's quality for £2. Imagine all that. How many jars that would have took. So what is it? 3 kilos.
2,800 grams, so nearly 3 kilos, isn't it?
So like 14 jars.
Why?
At $2.50.
It's very heavy. You could kill someone with that. But that's the way to go. If people like
jalapenos.
If people like them, that's the way to go. Santa Maria, they're called. You can get them from Morrison's or online.
Just not that big.
In excessive amount.
Or in Sar's case, you go to like Booker's Cash and Carry.
Well, it did. When I went back and looked again, it did actually say suitable for catering kitchens.
and you said challenge accepted.
Yeah, exactly.
Sharon, I've got an idea. We're going to set up a catering company. specializing in jalapeno toasties.
In just toasted sandwiches with jalapenos in it until I run out of jalapenos, and then we're done. But there we go. That's all I had for the non-wrestling topic, Magsy. I think that was everything, wasn't it?
It was. That was
Great
less terrifying than other Ask Us Anything.
Yeah.
So brilliant
They're
questions,
mellowing, I
folks.
feel.
Yeah. Or they've hit us with all the horrific things too early, and now they've got nothing to hit us with.
Indeed. We should try again doing one of those Ask You Anything, where we sent listeners questions. I know it's
Yes.
complicated and a pain in the ass, but that's something we could potentially do in a future week and try and arrange that, couldn't we?
That was fun. Yeah, let's do that again.
We haven't done that for a while. But thank you, everyone who messaged the show on Twitter to join in with a non-wrestling topic. And, of course, thank you, everyone who voted in the poll for this week's wrestling topic, as always, at @chain_wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky. Maxie, I suppose we better get into talking a bit of wrestling now, hadn't we?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Sorry, I had to nip off and shut the door there.
Comes in, leaves doors open. Didn't even yeet on a way out. Shocking. He's not a wrestling waff at all.
Ah, dear me. So then, Magsy won the poll, and Magsy selected not one match, which is the way the show works, the whole of the videotape WrestleFest 1991. Excuse me, little hiccup there.
I mean, there is a little bit of context to that. So, WWE obviously come away from Peacock, and then a lot of their content now was going on their own YouTube channels. The WCW channel is brilliant, absolutely amazing. But WWE Vault, which is where they put in a lot of their older content stuff that you may have not seen for a while. And that was what came on, and it just brought back such amazing memories of being a kid and going to the local video shop and seeing a WrestleFest and then hiring out for the weekend and just watching it over and over and over again. I just thought we'd revisit those childhood memories and see if that kind of wrestling is still the stuff that we love, or has it kind of gone the way of the dinosaurs?
Indeed. Interesting to read, and if this is accurate, which I think it is, this didn't actually get a UK release until early 1994 on VHS tape.
I think there was this was the first WrestleFest, and then there was 92, 93, and then 94, and I think they all ended up getting released in 1994.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, interesting. First thing that baffles me a little bit, no Hogan, because the timing of this is
that's a win.
Good. No, yeah. For us now, definitely good, but putting ourselves back in that time, no Hogan. Oh, he'd gone to WCW by this point when it was released in the UK, but when this was put together and released in the US, he was their champion. We'd just come off WrestleMania 7. It's that kind of era, that kind of time frame. That seems odd to me when you look at some of the names that are on this videotape.
I mean, yeah, and then I'd also say no, because a lot of these matches are essentially dark matches from TV tapings, and I don't think 1991 Hogan is the kind of wrestler that would stick around for dark matches. He's the kind of wrestler who wouldn't even probably be on Wrestling Challenge or Superstars or All American. So yeah, I can understand why. I mean, it's also very likely that the WWF and Coliseum Home Video had multiple Hogan compilation videos out anyway. So maybe it was just a chance to showcase. Showcase other people.
Loads of them loads of them, didn't they? Actually, no, that's a really good point. I didn't think of that. Okay. I think there's 8 or 9 matches on this tape. So
Yes.
I don't really want to break every match down move by
No,
move because
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. These are dark matches from TV tapings. These are not the all singing, all dancing, absolute hidden gems of wrestling. They are a lot of the time very, very basic wrestling. But it's the kind of wrestling when back in the early 90s when you would see big name wrestler versus jobber, big name wrestler versus jobber every week. You're actually seeing 2 named wrestlers or 4 named wrestlers in a match, and it not being a pay-per-view. It was different back then. You never got that. So it's the excitement of, oh my god, we're seeing the Legion of Doom versus Heart Foundation, a match that never actually ever took place anywhere else apart from on this video.
Yes, that's
so
the standout for me. We'll come to that shortly, but that's just because of who's involved. It's wonderful. But what I've done, Magsy, because we rate things out of 10, don't we? So what I've done, and we normally try and rate the in-ring action as our main barometer, and other things come into it as well at times.
Yeah.
I've rated each match out of 10 to give me an average at the end.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I've done. I don't know if you've done something similar.
I can do that, but I feel that the match averages will not tally with the overall average for me.
Okay, fair enough. We begin, bear in mind, this is 1991, not long after WrestleMania. We begin with Macho Man Randy Savage, recently retired.
Who is
Macho Man Randy
fucking
Savage.
Brilliant in this. I think the little skits with Macho Man, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It tells a story all of its own.
Yes. Yeah, man of leisure, it says on the thing. And he's in an establishment with, he's poolside in the first one, in full wrestling gear, even though he has retired.
And everything.
Absolutely insane. He introduces the first match for us. And we have, again, 1991, heel Earthquake with Jimmy Hart. Quite a big deal. And, you know, until recently, until the January of this year, the WWF World Champion, the Ultimate Warrior. I'm thinking, okay, by 91 standards, maybe not in ring, but name value, we're off to a good start here, Mags, I thought.
We are. I think it's a cracking start, and we start with a promo by Earthquake, who calls back to his debut when he's essentially squashed Warrior, and yeah, we're hitting the races straight away with this. And again, like I said at the beginning, these matches are not. There's nothing shocking or mind-blowing about these matches. They are very basic, dark matches. So it's typical heel takes the lead, face makes a comeback, and the fans go home happy. And it's what happens in this match. Earthquake beats down on Warrior. Warrior does a bit of hulking up, and Earthquake eats the pin. But for someone in 1991 to be watching this match on a taping of I think this was for a Wrestling Challenge taping originally, this would be brilliant. It's really brilliant as a 1991 wrestling fan. Ultimate Warrior coming out, beating the big bad Earthquake. I thought the match was terrible. No, terrible is probably harsh. The match was basic.
No, it's not. The match was terrible.
The match was basic. It was literally just heel beating up the face, and then the face getting his big comeback. But it's the Warrior versus Earthquake in 1991. Okay. I loved it.
I got 2 out of 10 for this.
I mean, as a match, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
As a memory,
but
unfair.
The Warrior, his music hitting, the crowd reaction is a big deal as well. When that sort of heavy metal riff kicks in, he starts running. Wonderful. And it just reminded me of being a wrestling fan before knowing what we know now as a grown-up.
Yeah.
And the Warrior was
takes you back to being a 10-year-old.
Incredible. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Following that, Randy Savage introduces Manager Cam, a Coliseum video exclusive. We have the Mountie versus the Big Boss Man. Again, quite a big deal in '91 because this is when they had their feud and their match, where one of them had to go and spend the night in prison and so on. So it's quite a big deal having this on the videotape. But we spend most of our time looking at Jimmy Hart, and I find Jimmy Hart one of the most. I was so much respect for the guy for what he's done in the business, but at the same time, I find him one of the most irritating fuckers on the planet. Having a camera on him and him mic'd up throughout the duration of the match, it was intriguing at first. It was really interesting because it's something I'd not seen before, but it wore thin for me very quickly.
Not for me at all. I thought it shines it shined a light on the importance of a manager, and I get that he was probably hamming it up because he knew that they were recording it for this specific thing. But I still think that it showed just how effective having a manager can be. I thought he was very entertaining. He kept the flow of the match going, and which is something that you sometimes don't appreciate of an outside entity in a wrestling match. But when they were losing the match, he kept it going, and he kept guarding Mountie to the next spot, and he kept Bossman involved, and he kept speaking with the ref. I thought it was a really good insight into the workings of a manager. I loved it. Thought it was brilliant. Again, the wrestling was very basic, a lot of playing up to the crowd, but it's a dark taping. It's not going to be technically a brilliant match. I just thought it was loads and loads of fun. I mean, when Bossman steals Jimmy's jacket, and Jimmy's like, "Don't you throw that into the crowd! Don't you fucking do it, Bossman!" And then, "Come on, ref, he's choking him with it now, and watch for the fist." Yeah. And ref, are you picking your nose? Where'd you get your refereeing license? Oh, I thought Jimmy was brilliant in this. Brilliant. I loved it.
I think it's how squeaky he is.
But he's meant to be annoying. He's not. He's meant to be aggravating. Yeah. I thought he did a brilliant job, and even at the end, it was even when the Mountie had lost, you could still see him doing his job as a manager of kind of like pumping his wrestler up and saying, "Right, I'll sucker him over and you shock him with the shock stick." Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. Brilliant.
Do you give this a rating out of 10, Max?
Yeah, I think for wrestling, 3. It's basic, but for entertainment value, 8.
To fuck. 8.
It was well entertaining.
What the fuck is in that coffee cup? Because it ain't fucking Nescafe, I'll tell you that, mate. What's in there? Gin? Jesus wept. I loved the idea, but I was sick of it after literally 2 or 3 minutes.
And I don't think they did it after this one. I don't think it made a reappearance.
No. I actually found myself wishing that I saw more of the Warrior at one point.
Come on.
So I've actually got, for the actual in-ring standpoint, I've got a 1.
No, he was advising his client, "You need to get off the ropes, Mountie. Don't get trapped in the corner." It was brilliant. Jimmy Hart is a legend.
Well, yes, but here, anyway. We don't see Savage again until after the next match, do we? He introduces matches, but we don't actually see him in any skits or moments, do we? So, up next we have the Rockers versus Power and Glory, and if anything screams 1991, it's the Rockers versus Power and Glory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I was obviously Sean is my guy, as everyone's fully aware, so I was really looking forward to this, and it didn't disappoint until the finish. I thought the finish was a bit of a, that was a bit of a letdown, considering,
another dark match finish, isn't it? Yeah. One thing that really stood out to me in this was Paul Roma. He had all the tools to be one of the greats, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yet he never did.
He also got called Romeo instead of Roma.
Now this is something that I'm going to pick up on now because you've mentioned it. But the majority of these matches, or I think all of them actually, are commented on by Lord Alfred Hayes and Sean Mooney. And I fucking love their commentary on this because
fucking what?
Because they didn't take any part of it seriously. They knew that these were throwaway matches, that they were going on to Coliseum home video. So they just fucking arsed about. I am positive Lord Alfred Hayes was pissed, like genuinely.
Probably, yeah.
And I just loved the interaction between the two and how they. I mean, they are no Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. They are no Jim Ross and Paul Heyman. But for this video, I think they worked really well. And just the way that Lord Alfred Hayes fucked things up and slurred his words, I thought it was brilliant. He was genuinely arsehole. He was genuinely arsehole.
I just think the sheer basics of getting the wrestler's name right, that's pretty important in my book.
Yeah, I mean, there is one point in the last match where they keep referring to one of the wrestlers in the ring as his tag team partner, quite clearly telegraphing that Marty Jannetty is the Marty Jannetty of the Rockers, and he will never be the Shawn Michaels. I thought it was. They were really good together. A really good, underrated commentary duo.
Sean Mooney, commentary is not his forte by his own admission. He had a short.
He's a reporter,
podcast.
Isn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, he does a good job. Alfred Hayes, I'm not gonna lie, got on my nerves a bit. It's just like, I mean, okay, have a drink, whatever, but get the wrestlers' fucking names right. It's something as simple as that. The rest of it, yeah, it adds to the comedy, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Sean Mooney as well, top bloke. Anyone who's met the guy, and I've had brief email interactions with him way back, like years ago, pre-COVID. I was emailing back and forth with him about an idea for something that never came off. But fucking genuinely nice fella. Really, really nice guy. Gave me the time of day to respond, and we went a couple of questions for him, and he answered. Real nice guy, top bloke. Yeah, so okay. What's he doing now, Sean Mooney? He did a little bit he did something recently, didn't he? Like a classics program or something, a wrestling.
Do you know what? I remember seeing him because he looks
like a Raw anniversary or something like that.
He looks very similar to how he is. He looks like he's never aged. But yeah, apparently he works as an anchor for NBC now.
There we go. Yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah.
I like big thing in this match for me. Yeah. Big thing for me in this match was we saw people throwing super kicks and the opposition actually fucking selling them. So
even selling super kicks that didn't make contact.
There we go. Look, that's
how you sell
air.
Yeah.
You know.
But again,
decent enough tag match is straightforward. It's simple enough, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's the same kind of scenario as the previous two match. Heels on top. Babyface make a comeback. The ending was a bit shit where the Rockers got counted out, but they had fun with Slick's hat afterwards after they beat him up. So everybody wins.
It was weird that not everybody wins. It was weird for me having the heels and the faces in the opposite corners when they're tagging, because traditionally the baby faces are the furthest corner from the hard cam, so you can see
their face a lot more.
See their face, yeah. So, but here they were the near corner, so you're greeted with the baby faces' backs, so you don't get the.
They weren't. This weren't intended to be released.
No,
it was meant to be a dark match.
Very true. Yeah, very true. Randy Savage now, he's stood at the pool and he talks about potentially going to play pool. So, little wordplay there from the Macho Man. I enjoyed that.
Yes.
I know the Savage talks the way he does, and his character is the way he is. But there was I think there's one of these moments. I think it's the next one when he actually goes to the pool table, where the use of and yeah, it almost seemed like he was taking the piss out of himself with how often he did it. He really hammed it up for that one. Did you notice that?
Is that the one where he goes that people call it billiards rather than pool,
Yes.
which is not the same? And he goes, I'm a champion, so I'm going to call it billiards. And then he does a shit break and goes, do you know what? I'm actually just going to pot any ball on the table. I'm just going to clean up.
Well, he breaks, doesn't pot anything, so it's stripes and spots, obviously. You've got
Then
the
for the
whole
black.
set. Yeah, you've got the whole set of balls he can still hit. The one ball on the table he should not hit, he pots.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go.
But we're jumping ahead. We've got an amazing match first.
Ted DiBiase versus the Texas Tornado.
Now,
incredibly generic entrance theme for the Tornado, isn't it?
Before we even get to the entrance, though, this is something that did confuse me a little bit. So I've watched this match 7 times over the last 7 weeks. Ted DiBiase, spoilers for people who haven't watched it, doesn't get the win. But yet, he does a promo that is aired before the match that talks about the match in the past tense. And he bigs up this match like as if it's good. You lost. Surely in kayfabe, you would not be promoting a match where you've been beat. I don't.
It's an odd one.
That baffled me. But he does say that Kerry Von Erich has a Cadillac body with a Volkswagen brain.
It was a great line.
And then he goes, "Do you want me to repeat it?" And then laughs, and that's the end of the promo. Which, yeah, it makes sense. But I did love these little promos at the beginning.
He might be talking to someone off camera saying, "Do I need to repeat that? Are we done?" Okay, great. That's the sort of vibe, isn't it? He calls like Virgil as well. Texas Tornado brings Virgil to the ring. DiBiase at the time was with Sherry, they say, wasn't she?
Yeah, but
So
she'd been sent shopping.
Was.
Well, you clearly didn't listen to Lord Alfred Hayes and Sean Mooney because he said,
"No, I meant in real life."
Oh shit, she's not hanging around for dark matches, surely.
Okay, right.
But yeah, she's been sent shopping, and that's why Sensational Sherry wasn't there. But Texas Tornado introducing Virgil. What a charisma vacuum that guy is.
Such a shame.
He had another wrestler who had all the tools, apart from he could not fucking work the mark. Very robotically. I mean, I'd say that's an attribute, because what he could pull off with 1.5 feet.
Oh yeah,
it's more than most people with 2.
He literally didn't have all the tools because that was missing.
No, but he made up for that.
Okay.
With his wrestling ingenuity. Anyway, he brings out Virgil, and it's one of the most boring introductions for a wrestler in the history of the world. Oh, Moneybags is out here all alone. Where's your bodyguard, Virgil? I know where he is. Come on out, Virgil. And then Virgil skulks out. Now, you think Virgil's a face because he's turned, but he's not. He's a prick. He's always been a prick. He always will be a prick. And we'll find out why at the end of this match.
We do indeed. We get the 10 turnbuckle shots. One to get the crowd chanting along. A good way of getting them involved, I suppose, isn't it? Fighting on the outside as well. The Tornado goes for his spinning punch. DiBiase misses, so he punches the ring post and sells that for the rest of the match. I like the finish if it was like at SummerSlam 89. No, sorry, WrestleMania 5, where the heel is doing it, not the babyface.
Correct. And so basically, Ted tries to suplex Kerry Von Erich back into the ring. but Kerry shifts his weight, and then Virgil, who is meant to be a face, holds Ted DiBiase's leg so he falls flat on his back, and Kerry's able to get the win. Now, ordinarily, I'd let that go because it's a heel losing, and you do what you can to win. But Virgil is a prick because the minute that happened, he doesn't even stick around to help Kerry deal with any potential aftermath. When a wrestler's been cheated, they want revenge instantly, and it's very likely that they're going to attack Kerry Von Erich. Virgil skulks back down the entrance ramp like the sneaky fucking Olive Garden eating prick that he is. What a tosser.
Indeed.
What a tosser.
Again, though, I like the finish when it's done. You think WrestleMania 5, Rick Rude was the guy suplexing the Warrior.
Yeah.
Heenan was holding the foot. And that was perfection. What a wonderful way of taking the belt off the Warrior, who seemed as unbeatable at the time. I just don't get why. Again, dark match, I understand, but it just didn't make sense, did it?
No, it didn't. And it was another very standard match. I think it went about 4 or 5 minutes. So it's nothing extraordinary, but it's the classic feeling that you get from it.
The last 2 matches, Maxie, that one there, DiBiase Tornado and Rockers Power and Glory, I actually gave a 5 out of 10 each.
I'd probably give the Rockers one a little bit more because that goes a good 10, maybe 12 minutes. Shit finish, but some pretty good action.
Yeah, the finish took away for me. The finish really took away for me.
But I'd give that, 5 seems fair. For this one, probably a 4. So we're not far away.
Not too far off. Yeah, not far off. Up next, we have the British Bulldog versus Haku. Now, we all know the Bulldog wasn't the tallest guy. I mean, build-wise, too much for his frame, but he looked huge build-wise, barrel-chested arms and all that. Seeing some of the people on this card that have already wrestled, then the Bulldog gets in the ring. I think he looked really short here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not deliberately comparing him, but...
And how cruel was it that Haku got the job as entrance?
Well, yeah.
Everyone else so far on this card has got at least an entrance, apart from Haku, which is very disrespectful. Yeah, Haku's not the tallest person, so
no, he's not. No.
They do in the land of the giants. They are 2 of the smallest.
Yeah, well, I think he was only like 5'10", wasn't he? 5'9.5", 5'10", the Bulldog.
Yeah.
Again, this match is pretty decent. It's pretty solid. There's a couple of things I quite enjoyed. When the Bulldog had Haku in an armbar, Haku starts chopping his thighs, his quad muscles to get out of it. So simple, but it looks so believable. And the Bulldog selling in this match, I thought was fantastic. I genuinely believed he was struggling with this or struggling with that. Really good stuff.
There's a really good monkey flip as well by Bulldog. The pile driver by Haku.
I was going to mention the pile driver, yeah, but kick out with 2 on that.
But it looked brutal. Did that pile driver? He put some stank onto it. But yeah, this was a decent match. It was Bulldog for his mass could actually go in the ring. It was pretty good at the half lane stuff. There's a little bit of a sequence where he does 2 leapfrogs and then a drop kick, which for a guy of his mass, not of his heart, but of his mass, to be pulling that off, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. The back, obviously not a similar style move because it's not an aerial thing, but the back body drop he does as well, and the height Haku gets on that, I thought that was wonderful. Haku applies a sleeper at one point. The exchanging of headbutts, great for the time, but in hindsight, a bit ick. But at the time, you can see why that would have got a good reaction. And then the Bulldog wins with a crucifix, and I love that.
Really
brilliant.
Good. Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was up to now, probably the best match that we've seen.
Yes, I agree.
It wasn't too long that it exposed the two wrestlers, but it wasn't too short that it was throwaway. I enjoyed it. Yeah. 7.
I got 6. Oh, 7. Okay, I got 6. Randy Savage is playing Paul now and saying, "Yeah, oh yeah, brother, over and over and over again.
Billions. Yeah.
I liked the way he said that when he most recently played himself 3 times in a row and only won twice. I quite enjoyed that.
But there's also a point in the beginning, at the beginning of the video, where he goes, "The one wrestler I've never wrestled is the Macho Man Randy Savage." Quite clearly, you've never wrestled in your pillar.
He's having a few identity issues, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, he is
at the pool.
He hasn't been sleeping. He's only catching a second of sleep because he's obviously still traumatized from losing to the Warrior and having to retire and being bummed out with having to host these showers of shit.
What comes next though is
I'm
not gonna lie.
It's the worst part of the video. It's the worst part.
I cussed you so bad when this came up for making me able to watch this. We have Brutus the Barber Beefcake's grooming tips. So we go to the barber shop. First of all, thank you, Sid. Thank you, Sean, for fucking trashing that place so we don't get to see any more of this bullshit. And he's got a guy called Bob, and he's wearing, not Bob, well, yeah, Bob as well, but Beefcake is wearing the most ridiculous outfit I've fucking seen. He was putting down
those pants were hanging on for grim death.
Fuck's sake. And he's grooming Bob. So he's putting
in more ways than
1,000-year-old mud
Dead
on his
Sea
face.
mud. Yeah. So he says he doesn't trust commercial brands, and he prefers 1,000-year-old Dead Sea mud. So he gets a load of mud, splatters it all over poor Bob's face. Bob can't breathe, so he sticks a straw in Bob's mouth for him to breathe out of. And then he talks about protein in his hair, and he, without even the slightest sense of irony, the guy had the driest straw-looking hair at this time. Like, if 2 of his strands of hair rubbed together, they were setting on fire. So the fucking cheek of him to complain about Bob needing protein, but really that was just a way for him to smash an egg into Bob's head and rub the egg into the hair. He then crushes the shell up and rubs that in as well. So it's just a way for poor Bob to get bullied, essentially, by the face Brutus Beefcake.
It was fucking bullshit, is what it was.
It was a waste of time.
The only thing I could think of that could be potential saving grace would be, you think back to when you're a real little kid and you see grown-ups getting gunked on TV and Noel's
get your own back.
Yeah, that's it. Get your own back. Yeah. Little tiny kids would have probably seen this guy with mud and egg on him and laughed, because to them it would have been funny.
And at the end, he got out the leaf blower and he was blowing it in Bob's face. All the mud comes off, and you see all Bob's face like warp with the power of the leaf blower. So yeah, it was clearly done to get a few cheap laughs from the kids, but it just makes Brutus look like a bit of a wanker.
Well, he is a wanker.
I mean, he doesn't. He doesn't need help doing that, but it just kind of confirmed that he was a bit of a wanker.
Yes. Up next, we have 2 pretty solid wrestlers throughout their whole career, Maxie. We have Rick Martel in his model persona, taking on Greg the Hammer Valentine, who's a fucking babyface here for some reason, and people are cheering him, and it's weird.
This is just the most mid-card of mid-card fights you could ever mid-card.
Yeah. And again,
like you said, 2 very
1991.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 2 technically great wrestlers. But it's a match where you couldn't give a shit who wins, because Greg Valentine was never the biggest babyface. Rick the Model was good at being a heel, so you technically wanted him to lose. The match was slow as fuck. It was definitely skippable. Shitty finish.
Oh yeah,
because this ends up being a double count out. Yeah, it's meh. It's a very meh match. The only thing is that Greg Valentine still looks like that now in the year of our Lord 2025 as he did in 1991. Genuinely has not changed. He still looks like a barrel with a blonde mullet.
Sean Mooney, who I think is sober. Alfred Hayes is the one who's been at the gin and tonic. Describes
No
an
tonic,
abdominal stretch.
all gin.
He describes an abdominal stretch as a grapevine here.
He does.
Hence the references in the intro earlier on. They do make sense if you actually listen to the show. That annoyed me a little bit. But yeah, the double count out. I mean, they didn't do anything shite. It just wasn't that interesting.
No. The one minor interesting thing for me was when Valentine went to do the headbutt in the groin spot, and he jumps so high up and like really puts effort into it, just for it to be a double count out finish. Then he don't even get that on. He still locks in the fucking figure four anyway. So fuck you, the model. But it's a nothing match. Absolutely, it's not offensive, but you will not lose sleep if you miss it.
Yeah, there you go. It may sound like I'm being a bit negative. I'm not. Everything they do is fine, but it is just what it is. Sort of 4 out of 10 for that one. I've got, Maxie.
Yeah, it sounds fair. 4 out of 10.
And up next, Millwall Chris will fucking adore this. Coco Beware versus the Warlord. Coco Beware is around 5'2" and wearing trousers that match, the trousers that would probably fit Giant Gonzalez. The Warlord is roided to hell.
How was he never WWF champion?
Oh, 100%. They talk about it on this. They say about him wanting to challenge Hogan. If they'd have put the belt on him to then have him wreck everyone for 6 months, and then Hogan return from somewhere making Suburban Commando or whatever and go after him, they would have made money with that.
Yeah, because he looks very much the part of 1991 heel wrestler. He looks the part. And
I love the body armor as well, and the staff he has, and the whole package, mate. Yeah,
I mean, he's in the ring. He's boring. His moveset is quite boring, but he can sell. There's points like where it shows like being confused. Like there's one point where Coco fakes jumping off the rope. Warlord ducks down, then looks around confused, like where is he? And he was there all along. So he could do the comedy shtick selling. They should have pulled the trigger on him as being world champion. I really like the Warlord. This match is meh. I do feel bad for Coco because he's literally the only face who doesn't win the match.
The crowd are into him, mind. He is so over with this.
He's the biggest jobber since Barry Horowitz. Probably before that.
Before Horowitz.
Barry Windham. Yeah.
Fuck off with the Barry Windham. What the fuck? 3 out of 10 I've got for this one, Magsy. But I think you're spot on the money with the Warlord. You look back at Hogan's opponents around this time. I mean, the formula was always there, but around this time, Earthquake, big monster heel, slow and plodding in the ring, really. Zeus, SummerSlam 89. Big plodding heel, shit in the ring. Hogan got a little bit out of him, and they made money with him there as well. Warlord could have been a step up from Zeus, definitely.
Yeah, because he could wrestle.
Yes,
and he had the power moves that could help build a face wrestler to that comeback if he's putting on the full Nelson. a face wrestler breaks out of that, then all of a sudden, I mean, he did it with Bulldog. I think they had a match with Bulldog and Warlord, and
they wrestled all over the place, didn't they? WrestleMania 7, I think, was probably their biggest one, but they worked for months together.
Yeah, exactly, and it really helped make Bulldog into a massive face. So, I'm surprised they never pulled the trigger with him. But then again, the whole steroid trial thing, and he was definitely on the steroids. His pecs were square; they weren't rounded; they were genuinely square.
Oh dear!
There was no definition there. It was like he was made out of Lego. Just an animal of a man, an absolute animal.
You're gonna have to help me here. Have I missed a Savage moment? Because we've got 2 more matches left. So do we get another Savage moment before the end? I've not got any notes on that.
So here we just see him watching the Warrior match again, and he's like, looking to learn lessons from the match, and then he goes into the tag team match of the month.
Tag team match of the month.
And it was not just a match of the month. This, and I've checked on Cage Match, this is the only time that this match ever took place with the wrestlers in the combinations that they are. Legion of Doom often teamed with Brett, or they faced the Hart Foundation in different like setups, like there'd be Owen and Bulldog, or it'd be Brian Pillman and Owen. But this is the only time that Hawk and Animal faced Anvil and Bret Hart, and fucking hell, it was good. It was bloody good. This is by far the best match on this card. By far.
It was very good. Very good. And it's, again, you can tell it's meant for a house show. It's not necessarily meant for television or anything like that, because it's babyface versus babyface. This was apparently filmed before WrestleMania.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before, I think.
Yeah, so they'd held on to it for a while. But the Hart Foundation here didn't have their title belts with them, because obviously they were champions when this was filmed, but they dropped the belts to the Nasty Boys in WrestleMania, didn't they? So yeah, coming out, so they were champions, but they knew that timeline.
Yeah, they knew that this was going to be aired afterwards, so don't have the titles with them.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant, so good, and seeing Brett and Neidhart, man, I think they get. People talk about them being a great tag team. Don't get me wrong, but I still think they're undervalued. I still think they don't get the appreciation they actually deserve. But you see some of the double team.
We may be able to rectify that, but we'll come on to that later on.
Oh, interesting. You look at some of the double team moves that they did for the time. They're really innovative stuff.
Yeah, the slingshot. I absolutely loved the Brett and Anvil slingshot into the shoulder tackle, the heart attack. I think they were the perfect epitome of a technical wrestler and a bruiser. I think they worked together really, really well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And the Road Warriors are the Road Warriors, aren't they? Let's be honest. 91 into 92, before Hawk decided just to fuck off, was they had a short WWF run in reality, didn't they? But how iconic were they, with the red spikes and the face paint, the music? And if you're a kid at 10 years of age and you see the Ultimate Warrior, you see the Road Warriors, how can you not be a wrestling fan when you see those guys?
I mean, did you see the and I think saying kid is a little bit of a stretch. He looked at least 20. There was a guy with the kids' shoulder pads on. Clearly didn't fit him. He'd clearly had them for a while, but he was fucking loving life there with his little blonde mullet. Yeah, they just got the crowd absolutely going, and it follows a typical Legion of Doom match. Hawk is the babyface in peril for a lot of the match. He gets the hot tag. Animal does his thing. There is a little bit of skullduggery with Brett and Anvil, which I thought was really clever. leading to eventually the finish. But I thought this match has never happened before or since. I fucking loved it. I loved every second of it. I'm glad you scarved for 7 weeks, so I got to see this 7 times. It was so good. And then the best part of it is at the end. Obviously, the Legion of Doom there with the hot team at this time. They get the win. Really good. Different win as well for Legion of Doom with Animal catching Brett and doing the power slam. But the way that both teams had massive amounts of respect for each other, and they were basically like hugging and praising each other after the match. I loved it. It was so good to watch. So good.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. I got 7 for this one.
9.
9?
Yeah, I loved it.
Why?
This is my boys, Road Warriors, tag team wrestling. The heel and they were both heels, but the Heart Foundation were working. They were both faces, sorry, but the Heart Foundation were working a heely kind of way. It was just classic tag team wrestling. I fucking loved every second of it. I want to watch it again. I'm going to watch this again later on.
Okay. Any more Savage? Again, I got to double check because I feel like I've missed one. Or is that it now?
No, we then. Now, for me, I would have ended the tape here. How do you not with the 2 hottest teams in tag team wrestling, a match that's never happened before, never will happen again? How do you not end it there? And then you get to the main event of the tape. Someone who's already been on the tape, so we didn't really need a second viewing. And then a wrestler a match that no one gives a shit about. Marty Jannetty versus Pat Tanaka. How do you end WrestleFest 91 on this? Not a horrific match, but how do you go from Legion of Doom versus the Heart Foundation to this shower of shit? And then to make it
swap them round. That's what you have to do, isn't
it? Yeah, exactly. And what makes it even worse is that the commentary kind of telegraphed just how Marty Jannetty's career is going to go with how they describe this match, because multiple times they forget that this is Marty Jannetty and they refer to Shawn Michaels and Cole's Marty, Shawn's partner, all the time. They're literally telling you this guy ain't gonna lead to shit. It's all about Shawn Michaels, and he's just made weight. It was just a pointless match, absolutely pointless.
However, all that aside, when the bell rings, what they actually do with the minutes they have is pretty decent. You know, you look at what Jannetty does here in this match. Jannetty's got his working boots on here, I feel, and you look at certain things he does, certain moves he does, and the selling as well, because obviously he's the babyface, so he's getting beaten up for quite a while. You look at it and you go, okay, this isn't top level, but you look at it and you go, there's potential there. What a waste that he couldn't
of his own volition
and couldn't 100%. Jannetty damn near kills Pat Tanaka with a power driver, though, doesn't he? Holy fucking shit!
I mean, it's knowing what we know about wrestling now and going into the future. It gives you Steve Austin, Owen Hart vibes.
Does it?
I mean,
you are spot on, mate. Yep.
They essentially pull off the same kind of like spot with the reversing of pile drivers and stuff like that. But yeah, fucking hell. Pat Tanaka's literally face first into a pile driver, and how his neck didn't just break off was just very, very scary. Very, very scary. And I agree with you. The match, the wrestling was absolutely fine. These are 2 wrestlers who can go. But we've seen Marty Jannetty on this tape already, so you're getting a lot of the same kind of things, a lot of the same kind of spots. I just don't think this was a match to end this tape on.
I got 5.5 for this one.
Yeah, that seems fair. 5, 6.
Yeah, it's good, but again, you're right. You should flip the 2 round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or just
in a lot
don't
more
watch this
sense.
one, because you don't, apart from the gruesome finish, you don't miss anything that's not in another match involving Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. So on average, when we're talking in ring alone, so please bear with me on this, when we're talking literally the bell to bell and we're rating it as an average for the wrestling content, these results make it come out as a 4 for me.
Okay.
However,
So I'm not going to do any rudimentary math, but
okay,
as of the wrestling, the actual wrestling, I would say on balance a 5 seems fair, because there is some really good stuff, but there's not anything bad. That's the thing. There's nothing what I would say is that's horrific and wish I'd never watched that. But there's, aside from the Heart Foundation versus LOD, a lot of it is missable. So I think a 5 is decent, a decent score for judging the wrestling on its own.
Right. Add that to the nostalgia aspect for me. 1991, I was 10. Also, I wouldn't have seen this as a 10-year-old, but I would have seen a lot of stuff very similar. The Warrior, when I was 10, 11 years old. Holy crap, how could you not like that guy? The Legion of Doom, when I was 10, 11 years old. Holy crap. The Rockers, with the hair and the gear and the jumping and flying around. All of that. I gotta jump it up to a 7. Because of the nostalgia and the enjoyment I got out of seeing. I mean, Greg Valentine, Rick Martel. I'm not going to rush and watch that match again. But how many times have I actually sat and watched a Greg Valentine one-on-one match that is not against Roddy Piper at Starrcade? Mm-hmm. Very, very few.
Yeah.
It's moments like that. And it's just, it reminds me of another era and the nostalgia factor. So, yeah, in ring, it's a 4. But overall, for the nostalgia, it's a 7 for me.
Okay. So, I'm very tempted to give it a 10 because of the nostalgia.
You are
before
crazy.
You choke on your vape, I'll explain. Because of the nostalgia, because of the way I got into wrestling and the memories it brings up, I would be tempted to give it 10, but that would be ridiculous, because we have watched some technically brilliant wrestling that hasn't had a 10. So I think the wrestling, judged on its own, it touches a 5. I think the nostalgia factor definitely boosts that up. I had fun watching this. I've watched it, like I said, I've watched it 7 times. There hasn't been a point where I've gone, for fuck's sake, I'm having to watch that again. Because it's just throwaway, fun wrestling. There's a match in there which everybody should see. The Legion of Doom versus Heart Foundation. So for that, all those combined, I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, we're not too far off that match, really, are we?
No, I thought it was bloody good.
There we go. Very quickly, I want to just touch on this comment here from Dan Griffin. It says, as regards to the main event not being the main event, wasn't that the done thing for quite a while? Put the main event third last for TV time, then do a couple of matches for next week or syndication. Yes, for TV tapings.
These were all dark matches, yeah.
Yeah, these were all different matches from different events, spliced together for a videotape compilation.
Yeah, because I think there's some from early February all the way through to like very late March, so it was all kind of like mixed up. So that match, all of these would have technically been the main events, because these are dark matches at the end of actual taping. So I'm just meaning the order of the video, you kind of want to build to the best that you've got. And I would have put Legion of Doom versus Heart Foundation on last, definitely.
There we go. Magsy, where would you like to go next week?
Okay, so I did preempt you that I have got an idea that's out of the box, and we made mention about tag teams and how you feel that maybe the Heart Foundation don't get the flowers that they actually deserve. So I've sat on this pick for 7 weeks, bear in mind.
Okay.
During WrestleMania, the big YouTube channels are throwing content out left, right, and center to get you to watch. And probably the most entertaining of those channels, Cultaholic, threw out a list that I thought originally was very interesting. And then I watched it and I could feel anger bubbling up.
Okay.
So Cultaholic did a list of the 101 greatest tag teams ever in the build up to WrestleMania. Right. So going from doing a list, it's a 2-hour-long video. Now, obviously, we're not going to pick apart every single pick, but I found quite a few notable tag teams that are missing. And I thought we could go through that list and pick apart tag teams that maybe we think get underappreciated, teams that get overrated, and maybe then come out with our definitive top 10 tag teams to round off the segment. So I'm putting forward Cultaholic's 101 greatest tag teams ever.
Look at me. I want to do that. I want to do that next week.
Out of the box.
I want to do that. Yeah, that definitely. Picking our 10 best tag teams ever and discussing what they've missed and a general tag team discussion. Yeah, fascinating. Oh,
I love tag team wrestling. I'm old school like that. You love tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tag teams in it that I didn't know a lot about, which you will absolutely adore from like the days of fucking black and white telly and all sorts. So
don't you start. Our Libs is on about this with me at the moment. Everything's black and white in my day, the little bastard. I'm going to put something up against it. And if this loses, which I hope it does, we can revisit it another time. We will put it back up another time. But I've done something very, very straightforward. We looked at WrestleFest 91 this week. I was going to put WrestleFest 92 forward for next week. And the reason I thought that could be interesting is because the difference in the first quarter of 1991 WWF to the first quarter, 6 months of 1992 WWF is dramatic because of the steroid scandal, people leaving, and all that sort of stuff. Also, 92 onwards is kind of my WWF peak fandom as a kid. 91 I was watching and I was getting videotapes off my uncle, but it was very hit and miss and so on. 92, you got Brett as a singles going in. Well, he went into the world title picture by the end of 92, didn't he? October, I believe it was.
Flair coming in as the real world champion.
Shawn was a singles from, well, January they showed it, but the barbershop split occurred late 91. All that stuff going on. Hogan was nowhere to be seen anymore. So WWF 92 was huge. And the comparison we could have made, I thought would be absolutely fascinating. And we can still do that, just on another time. Obviously, I'm trying to influence the CWF here. You guys vote however you wish, of course. But that idea of Magsy's, a general tag team discussion, and then we pick our best 10 tag teams and we can see how many times we've even just got the same names in the 10, position-wise, is irrelevant. I think that'd be absolutely fascinating. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, either way, WrestleFest 1992 that'll be a really good look just to see how different a year makes in WWF.
Yeah.
And with
especially that time.
Yeah, bringing in Flair and how he essentially changed the whole landscape of WWF for that very short period he was with the company and just turned it all on his head. So yeah, that either way will be interesting. the tag team
Savage is back
discussion.
in the ring as well, of course. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It could be quality.
Those are your choices on the poll for next week's show. We have Cultaholics, greatest tag teams of all time.
101.
101 greatest tag teams of all time, Cultaholics list, which we will discuss in general, but primarily be putting forward our own lists of our 10 greatest tag teams and going from there. And also,
yeah, I mean,
if that
hopefully we'll look at
where we can link out from as well. From that is quite
from 101 from 200 plus wrestlers.
Yeah,
but it'll also be interesting to see if we think that they've overrated tag teams, like, or if they've like not rated tag team. I mean, you were saying about the Hart Foundation maybe not getting as good a rating as they maybe should have. Do Cultaholic give them those flowers, or are they on that same bandwagon? Or it'll be a very interesting topic to look at. And it's tag team wrestling. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, it's a YouTube video. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. So that is Magsy's choice. My choice is, of course, WrestleFest 1992, and the discussion that will come from WWF's changes from 91 to 92.
I mean, there's no loser there.
Hogan leaving.
It's all killer.
These
picks. Yeah. It's all killer. These picks.
Fuck me. If you want us to do justice to either selection, please don't fuck us with a 50-50 this week. Okay. Whatever loses the poll.
No, if it ends up being a 50-50, we are going to break chain wrestling tradition, and each video will get their own separate episode. So if you do that, you won't get a topic to pick next week.
There we go. Yeah, so those are your options. Tag team discussion, Cultaholics 101, the greatest tag teams of all time, plus our own thoughts, top 10s, etc., or WrestleFest 1992. Our social media accounts are the same all over. Chain_wrestling on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Twitter. The poll is still going to be on Twitter or X, and that's where it's going to stay because it's easy access for everyone involved, really. So make sure you're looking out on our social medias for that. Set up an X account to vote if you so wish. We need to have a look at what we're going to do with that if we do decide to move. I know a lot of people are leaving Twitter X at the time, but for the time being, we're staying put and we're using that because that's where we've been traditionally for 170 episodes back, isn't it? But yeah, at Chain_wrestling there. And also, of course, you need to keep an eye on those social media platforms for our non-wrestling topic. Get your answers in there as well for next week too. There we go. Magsy, do you want to scan through the chat quickly and then get on to a road story and then we'll get out of here?
Yes, we shall. We'll start here. Dan Griffin said he had his own internet issues, but he's back. What have you missed? You've missed 2 hours and 70 minutes of us waffling absolute crap and then discussing one of the arguably the best tag team matches that there's ever been in the history of the world. Then we've covered this one about the. It was bloody good. It was bloody
good. But it weren't that good.
In regards to the placing of the matches, Dan says in that case it is just weird. Yeah, I just don't get it. Unless they saw Marty Jannetty as being the next big thing. But
so fucking strange.
And then he says, "Can you tell I didn't watch the subject matter?" I'm surprised, Dan. And in fact, don't go and watch the whole of it.
No, you don't need to.
But definitely go and watch that LOD versus Hart Foundation match, Dan. You will not regret it. Dan says, cue the Demolition versus Road Warriors debate that will have Mags and Bang Bang Andy frothing. I watched the video already, the Cultaholic one, and there were loads of times that I was, oh my God, that's amazing. What a great pick. And then there's times when I'm like, how have you missed this tag team? And I don't want to spoil next week's potential episode, but there are some notable tag teams that they just don't mention whatsoever. And it's fucking aggravating when you see some of the tag teams that they do mention and you think, how have you put them in, but not them? You absolute arseholes. Anyway.
Interesting.
Dan says, even I don't want a 50-50, that tag team discussion sounds banging. Yeah, and you guys can give us your top 10s in the chat as well. So Or you could tell us where we're wrong, because wrestling is a buffet. What we like is not necessarily what you like. Benny Mac, hello, sir. How are you? He says, yay, chain wrestling. And he says 50-50. Well, you've been warned. It won't do. If it's 50-50, they won't both be covered next week. You will have to put up with no pick for the week after. And then last one is Dan says, nobody thinks Marty Jannetty is the next big thing. Not even Marty Jannetty. Well, maybe he'd had the last line of sniff and thought, I'm just going to go out and break Pat Tanaka's face.
Yes, indeed. And I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. Fuck Marty Jannetty for having the sheer audacity to say that I didn't research an article I wrote about him, when the research I used were direct quotes out of his fucking mouth on a video that he then denied making. Fuck you. Anyway, Max, road stories, pal. I love that video. I love that video. I forgot I made that.
I actually forgot that it was up there. I thought I haven't uploaded it, and then I saw it's under Mags with 1G, because Sad.
Yeah, because I misspelled your name. Yeah, I did.
You did. I mean, we've only been doing this for 170 episodes, but it is what it is. Anyway, this one is a quick one, but it's also absolutely brilliant. So aside from being one of wrestling's premier attractions and a colossal build heart of 7'4", 500 pounds, a genuine monster of a man, Andre the Giant is also famous for his ability to drink enough alcohol to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Oh, yes.
So Ric Flair shared a story from an incident that happened in 1976. So Rick, Andre, Dick Murdoch, and Blackjack Mulligan were all drinking at a bar in Norfolk, Virginia.
You wouldn't want to walk into that pub, would you?
Well, and they were sat on the patio, and this patio had overlooked the ocean, and they were having a merry old time, enjoying quite a lot of alcoholic beverages. But according to Flair, at some point during this mammoth sesh, and with absolutely no provocation at all, Blackjack Mulligan sucker punched Andre the Giant. Now, a normal man would have been sparked out by being punched in the face by a 330-pound, 6'7" Mulligan. But Andre is not a normal man. And all it did to the eighth wonder of the world was it angered him. So he grabbed Mulligan by the throat. Dick Murdoch jumped in to try and fend off on Andre. He was also grabbed by the throat. And Andre picked both guys up and started to drag them out of the bar, off the patio, heading down the beach to where the ocean met the sand, where he would then hold both their heads under the water. Now, Flair said that Andre wasn't actually trying to kill both these wrestlers, but he wanted to let them know just how easy, if he chose to, he could do that. And the only thing that saved their lives was that Andre the Giant showed them mercy. So this week's real story is the attempted murder of Blackjack Mulligan and Dick Murdoch by a pissed up Andre the Giant.
Why, fantastic. And I bet we've got so many more stories of Andre drinking to come as well.
Jesus,
wonderful
there's
stuff.
a lot. I mean,
yeah, I bet.
Of all the people to try and sucker punch, Andre the Giant should be the very last person in the world.
100%.
The very last. But pissed up wrestlers be pissed up wrestling.
Indeed. And obviously Blackjack Mulligan, huge contribution to the world of professional wrestling because he fathered the legendary Barry Windham. Magsy, that's it for today then. That's it. I've had a great time. And I'm already looking forward to next week.
Well, I mean, you were saying, I don't know if I can be asked this week as well. But
no, I wasn't.
Oh, I'm nervous. I need a poo. I've been away for so long.
I did say that. Before we depart then, my friend, do you want to let everyone know whereabouts they can find your good self online?
Yes, you can. I have an X, but I don't ever go on it apart from when I'm tagged on stuff, and sometimes I don't even do that. But props to Dan and Steve-O and everyone who's got involved with buying merchandise. We fucking love every single one of 100%. You. You are absolutely
Thank
amazing.
You so much.
Well, I have this Pod Farmer Mags. That's a TikTok account. Go on there. You'll see videos of chickens, and also you can follow me as I shed the pounds on using Monjaro. I'm currently 4.5 stone down because of that stuff in like 15 weeks. So follow me for that, people.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Anything I'm involved in, as always, you can find via the network that carries this show. So that's at SJP World Media on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all over the bloody place. If you search SJP World Media, you will find us. And via that, you can look at all the shows that appear on the main feed, almost like a taster, I suppose. All the shows appear there. This week, we've got something coming out every single day of the week, Magsy. And that includes the return of the waiting room, looking at Quantum Leap episode by episode with Benny Mac and myself, dropping in around 90 minutes time out on a Wednesday for the foreseeable future. We have Tyler Peters back with Tyler's Takedowns, talking Bruno Sammartino in a match in 1976 this week. Fantastic stuff there. We, of course, have The Volley, looking at professional football, the real stuff from England, not that silly catching and running nonsense that you get from the States. So much going on. Music, football, sport, TV, loads going on. The Doctor Who pod, of course, out every Monday as well with Dan Griffin and myself. So much going on by loads of really talented people, far more talented than I. Make sure you're checking out all their shows. But most importantly, you can find and follow this show itself on Blue Sky, Facebook and Twitter by searching at @chain_wrestling. Make sure you give us a follow, a like, a subscribe, a big fat 5-star review, because we're fucking worth it. And get involved in our non-wrestling topic and voting in the polls, because ultimately, as we say all the time, this show is your show. You shape what we do on our, now Tuesday nights, and I've had quite a good time tonight, Maxie. So same time next week.
Quite decent. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, I'm off now to make a bit of toast, a cup of tea, and then settle down in bed to watch Cultaholic's 101 Greatest Tag Teams in preparation for what we might do next week if the voters see fit. I'll speak to you next week, my friend.
Andre should have done the wrestling world a favour and finished off Mulligan so we didn't get bummed out with Windham.